All right, we're live.
Ooh.
Okay. Uh, Hello, folks. We are making an elf wizard with my brother Leo, who is going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons for real for the first time tonight. Okay, so where were we? Skill
Alright.
proficiencies. So I think history is grayed out probably because I already picked it for you in background. Um, but So, it, do you want to change investigation or arcana at all? And remember,
Um,
you can do any skill. You can roll
right.
your ability scores on anything. It's just
The most
what you
proficient.
have
Yeah.
proficiency in. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't quite understand how the picking
Yeah.
history for background thing works, but assuming that that's like basically the same thing, then I'm happy with the choices.
It's basically the same thing.
Cool.
All right, we'll get there. Okay, I think we're done on this page. Um, just some of the basic wizard info. So go ahead and hit next.
Wait, so real quick, there's a table here that's like what is this table? It's like level, proficiency bonus.
Right. So that shows you're looking in the wizard bar, the wizard
Yeah.
sidebar on the right.
Yeah.
So that shows like the different stuff you get as you level up.
Okay.
Um,
And then should I
and
like sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like the should I read through like this entire wizard sidebar as preparation for tonight, or is it not probably that important information right now?
Like I said, I'll explain the spellcasting stuff to you.
Okay,
And for your first time ever playing, I would say it's not all that critical for you to read it.
cool.
If you are going to spend time reading anything, I would recommend once we've picked the spells that you're going to have, I would recommend reading the text of the spells
Okay.
and trying to understand how they work.
I guess
That
also
would be that would probably be the best use of your reading time. And if you want to read more and look it up online, then go right ahead. But
sure,
I would say that's probably
sure.
the thing I
And
would
might there also be
suggest.
like because I'm gonna have to become somewhat educated in the history stuff. Are you gonna be telling me that, or is there gonna be a
Yeah,
document right there?
I'll either put together a document after we, stop, or I will straight up tell it to you right now.
Okay. All right.
Because then
Next.
you can ask me questions.
Right.
All right, hitting next.
Yes.
All right, it didn't switch for me, so I guess I just. Yeah, I wish it would. Okay, so ability scores. Now this is where the term "rolling up your character" comes from.
Okay.
So, for your first time, I really wish. I mean, I remember doing this when you were like 14 or something.
I also have a distant memory of doing this way back when.
Um,
Yeah.
but I really wish that we could do this with real dice because there's
Yeah.
something very visceral and tactile and exciting about using real dice to roll up a character.
Yeah.
So we're going to determine your ability scores. Now, these 6 statistics are kind of. They're going to do a couple things. They're going to give us a kind of a picture of your character. Like, we're going to know like a little bit about what his strengths and weaknesses are.
Mm.
And it also, mechanically, is going to be the basis for a lot of things. So, we're going to roll it up. Now, people have a lot of different methods and whatnot, but for your first character, you should roll. You should roll them bones, roll the dice. So, I have some macros set up so that we can automatically kind of do this. And there's a nice little one that I found on the Roll20 forums. So, if you go into the chat tab which is the
Yeah.
word bubble tab.
Slash GM roll 1d20 plus 6. Like
right, so that's for the GM. So GM roll is a secret roll to me. For most rolls,
slash roll d20.
if I ask you to roll in secret,
Right.
then you'll do slash GM roll. But normally you just do slash roll, or you can even type slash R, space 1, and you know the way it's written, 1d. Yeah, there you go, 1d20, etc. That's 1 20-sided die. Excellent. Okay. So for the macro for rolling up characters, so we need 6 scores, right? And the way that those scores are generated, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, is we're going to generate 6 numbers via rolling dice. And I do recommend, by the way, turning on the 3D dice, enable 3D dice in the settings bar, just because it's more fun. I don't know why it didn't roll one for you just now for me, but whatever. It doesn't always work because it's a little intensive on the browser. But anyway, let's roll up the character. So in the chat tab, it's going to be # or hashtag. Yep. Oh, there you go.
Wait, hold on. When I turned on
3D dice,
when I turned on 3D dice, maybe I'm like missing a Flash player or something because it's like not. Click and drag to roll dice.
Click automatically roll 3D dice.
Maybe that's the problem here. Oh, I think okay.
Because you can click and drag. You can set it so that you click and drag the dice.
Hey, I got it.
But that's just like an extra step. Oh my gosh, natural 20! Hey.
What's happening here actually is that my character sheet is blocking the die at the bottom of the screen, and so I was very confused what was actually happening.
For natural 20, there's some music.
And then I'm going to enable automatically roll 3D dice. Okay. Roll D20. Right. I'm going to copy paste that.
You can also press the up arrow, and then it'll just do the last command.
2, 3.
It'll insert
nice.
the last command that you put. All right, stop.
All right, that's 6 rolls.
No, that's not how we're going to roll.
Oh, okay.
You don't roll 20-sided dice for your scores, although that would certainly have generated an interesting character. You've got an 18, a 20. All right. 20 is actually the highest a mortal can achieve in any score. So the way that we roll dice is it is 4d6 drop lowest to generate a score. Okay. So we roll more dice so that instead of it being so random as with a d20, etc. How do you drop lowest, you wonder? Well, don't worry, the macro is going to take care of everything. Okay. So, type in hashtag or #, and then it's CHA, and that should pop it up. You should be able to just select it. Like hit enter or something.
Yeah.
All right, do it. This is it. Boom! It did roll the dice!
It's a lot of dice. One of them is on its edge?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I guess the 5 is up because the 1 is shaded.
Nice. All right. So, here are your scores. That is a great set of scores. So, you got 14, 15, 7. That's a stinker. 16, 11, and 8.
Wait, I don't understand what? Oh, they showed up in chat. Got it. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So just roll all the dice at once, but it's 4d6 and then you drop the lowest one. So it's basically like 3d6, except you have an extra dice in there each time that you get rid of. Make sense?
But, like...
Don't worry about it.
So it automatically rolled 4d6 6 times, dropped the lowest score on each one, and generated 6 numbers. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. So the highest achievable number is an 18.
The highest achievable number is an 18 at the start of the game. Now, as you level up and gain in power, and training and experience, it is actually possible to raise your ability scores. There are even some magic items that can change your ability scores. So these have certain, like, character impacts, certain role-playing implications, right? So if you have high charisma, you're very charismatic, or you tend to be.
Right.
You're very charismatic. You might be, that might come out as you're a great leader, or maybe you're good at sweet talking people, or you have a silver tongue, or you're, all those kinds of things. If you have a high wisdom, I'm going from the bottom up. If you have a high wisdom, then you have good common sense, a very strong sense of who you are, a strength of character, strength of will, determination, and such. A high intelligence is used for, it means you're very, you're good at studying, investigating, working out problems.
I just texted you by accident, sorry.
Okay. You have a big vocabulary, all those kinds of things. Constitution, that's like how healthy you are. It's going to determine your hit points, and it's going to determine, can you shake off sickness? How quickly do you get tired? Stamina, etc.
Got it.
I think dexterity and strength are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we are now going to plug in those scores. Oh, and actually, if you mouse over the ability scores in chat, it shows what the actual rolls were.
Yeah, I noticed that.
That's pretty cool. I really love this macro. Alright. So, go ahead and input your scores. Now,
as I see fit.
Yeah. Now I think if you see there's the bars like below ability score method, which I've already set to custom.
Bars below ability score.
All right. Are you on abilities tab?
Oh yeah, custom. Got it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You see below custom it says input your scores.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to input them.
Yeah. Cool.
Now I think. When you input them, the actual score is at the top, which are your strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, across from left to right, at the top of the page, of the Charactermancer.
Yeah.
I think it'll automatically add your +2 dexterity and +1 intelligence.
All right, let's see. If I put 2 into dexterity, yeah, it auto made it 4.
Oh, okay. Cool. Why didn't it update that for me? Weird.
Maybe, I don't know.
Alright. So, go ahead and input your scores. So,
Seems like...
you, as a wizard, there's really, a big focus on intelligence.
Yeah.
So unless you're doing something very specific, like I'm building this very unusual character, in a particular way, you're going to want your highest score in intelligence.
What does it mean that the 2 are circled in green? I see that means that those are the ones that I got a 6 in, and the 7 I rolled a 1. But does that have any implications?
No, it's just automatic. It's just what the game does when you roll it's just what Roll20 does when you roll the maximum or the minimum on something.
Okay. Sure.
It lets you know, because a lot of games have critical hits and critical misses.
Yeah.
On different types of dice, so...
Yeah. I have 3 really good scores here, 16, 15, and 14.
You do.
Seems like 16 should go in intelligence, probably based on my character's background, and who he is. I'm going to put my 7 in charisma.
Dang.
More from a...
That's a role-playing opportunity, if I ever heard one.
More from a role-playing perspective than a logic one. Um, and probably
he's going to be a terrible liar.
yeah. Well, he's not. He doesn't really interact with people much.
Okay.
He hasn't
Socially
interacted
awkward.
with. He hasn't interacted with. He talks to people like maybe once a month, studying or so. So.
Dang.
I wouldn't imagine that he's.
What does this guy do with all of his studies? Well, I guess now we know he's traveling.
Well, kind of the idea was he didn't really have a purpose. He was mostly just learning for the sake of learning, and that's kind of what he was into, like a lifelong academic. But then he kind of heard a calling.
Okay.
He kind of got lost
into
lost
charisma.
in the libraries.
I wish that it would show it to me. I don't know why it's not showing it to me.
Maybe once they're all have a number in them, you'll see.
I don't know.
Let's see. I'm gonna guess also. I'm gonna say his. Where do I want to put that? 8. I'm gonna say his dexterity probably not that great either.
Okay. So before you put that in, and that's certainly a valid choice, I would say you are free to build your own character however you wish. Even if you wanted to trash your intelligence, you could still cast spells.
I understand that you're preferencing that it's okay to do whatever, but I just made a bad choice.
No, it's not a bad choice. I would just say that as an adventurer getting into combat, one thing you may not know is that as a wizard, probably your intelligence, your dexterity, and your constitution are going to come into play the most. Your dexterity is going to let you dodge enemy attacks. Your constitution is going to give you health. Your health is not, by wizard training, very high. And in fact, it's quite low. Because that's reflected in the D6 hit die. So, like a fighter gets D10 hit die. So they get 1d10 hit points every level, plus constitution. You get 1d6 hit points every level, plus constitution. Dexterity can also be useful for like ranged attacks, which is, since the wizard, again, not super tough, likes to stay back usually and maybe use ranged attacks. But, again, you can make a clumsy wizard and it can be perfectly good.
Sure.
I just wanted to throw that out there as, generally speaking, priority 1 intelligence, priority 2 dexterity and constitution, priority 3 probably wisdom, and then charisma and strength are dump stats usually. I have made a muscle wizard.
So having a like role playing wise.
Yeah.
It seems like having a low,
Well, the thing is, you can also put a pretty low number into your dexterity and it'll come out okay, because you get a +2.
You get a +2. So I could put my 11 in dexterity, my 8 in strength.
If you want.
Probably 15. My 15 in wisdom.
Oh, wow. You're going to be pretty wise then.
And that leaves my 14 in constitution. Maybe I should put 11 in constitution and 14 in dexterity. Seems to make sense to me.
I wish it was updating. No, I wish it was updating on my screen so I could see what was going on, but
maybe. Oops.
Something just happened.
Yeah, so I clicked edit and then save. Wait, and then it refreshed and none of my stuff got saved. Never mind. What?
Okay, I think I'm messing it up by clicking buttons. So I'm going to close it. And you go ahead and do it.
Okay. Alright. So 7 in charisma.
How do I wonder if there's some setting that I can...
16 in intelligence. My 15 in wisdom. I'll put my 14 in dexterity, my 11 in constitution, and my 8 in strength.
I will... Oh, it is finally updating for me. I don't know why it wasn't before. I'm actually going to start looking for a token for you. Did you put in those stats yet?
Yep.
Okay, great. Let me take a look. Okay, nice. So, you put your 8 in strength, dexterity 14, constitution 11. Okay, interesting. So your HP is going to be a little on the lower side.
You cut out for that last word there, what?
Your HP is going to be a little on the lower side.
Right. And
16 intelligence.
The way of changing that would be I could put the 15 in constitution or the...
You could.
Yeah.
All right, it's interesting because you're changing it up a little bit from my recommendations.
I don't know, because you said number 1 intelligence, number 2 dexterity, number 3 constitution.
No, I said
right?
number 2 constitution and dexterity, number 3 wisdom and strength and charisma. But you are putting the 15 in wisdom, which is interesting.
I only very minorly changed the order of those rankings, and that was more RPing. I don't know.
It's going to have quite an effect. So your wizard is not stupid. He has a 16 intelligence and a 15 wisdom.
Been studying.
He knows who he is.
He's been. He sleeps 4 hours a day, so that means he's been studying 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, for several hundred years.
You're gonna play a high intelligence, high wisdom elf. Interesting. Elf wizard. All right, very cool. I think that makes perfect sense, actually. Yeah, it is kind of a role-playing thing. It's like, of course he doesn't have a high constitution.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's gone out to adventure, so he knows a lot. He has very good common sense. He has very good book smarts. You've ended up with a 16 dexterity, so he's actually quite dexterous.
Mm-hmm. He does his morning yoga.
And alert. Very, very true. And, of course, 17 intelligence, which is quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Let's keep going. So, click next.
Cool. Background.
Okay. So you are on to your background. Now, I already put in Sage. Can you hear me?
Yes, I just putting on a jacket.
It's cold there?
Yeah.
Aren't you in California still?
Northern California.
Oh, right.
It's like 50 out or something. Very gloomy.
It's hot here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I already put in the Sage background. You can see in the drop-downs that, fortunately, the Sage background is the one that was publicly released. So that's the one they have in the game. Yay! But you independently chose the Sage back. Like, it was obviously going to be Sage.
Right.
It's total academic type. What's happening at Fourish?
My friend was asking what time I was thinking of trying to work out today, and I was estimating.
All right. You know we game at 5:30 your time, right?
Got it. That should be fine. I mean, he's also not going, so I can just go whenever we finish.
Man, you have friends that go work out with you? Jeez. Alright. So, the Sage. So the sage gets skills and languages as their main things, as their main kind of mechanical bonuses. Now, I already put in history and medicine. You may choose differently. I would say, from the description that you gave me of the character, I think history makes the most sense.
History makes plenty of sense. Yeah.
Medicine, I don't know. I just picked one.
Yeah, that's pretty. I have to kind of look through what's here and think about.
I guess I was like, my brother studies, medicine in a sense.
I really don't,
so,
but I really don't.
Chemicals.
Yeah, but do inorganic chemistry, which is about as far away as you can possibly get from biology.
That's true. All right, so you can pick from the drop down whatever you please.
Sure.
Whatever's available.
This is a skill. So this basically adds a modifier to when I try and do something related to it. Is that the general idea?
Yes. So the skill you choose means you can use any skill. You can use any ability score to do anything. The whole point of tabletop role-playing games, the whole point of having a live dungeon master, is that we have this back and forth story that we can tell, and you can try to do anything. And basically, a lot of new players fall into this trap of thinking, oh, well, if it's not on my character sheet, I can't do it. If I don't have proficiency in this skill, then I can't even try. Well, you totally can. It's just you get a bonus. You are specially studied or trained in these particular skills.
Right.
So yeah.
I'm not gonna do this, but wouldn't it be pretty ironic if I picked deception? Like I'd studied the art of lying for so long, but a terrible charisma.
I'm not sure if deception is an option from the sage. Actually, let me grab my rulebook.
Oh, I'm not picking. That's fine. Wait, Max. Max. I was trying to call after you. You don't have to look it up because I'm not picking that. I was just saying.
Well, if you want, but you should know what your options are.
Sure. So it doesn't automatically, because it automatically grayed out. Those are the things. Those are the things we already picked. I see. Okay.
I'm just double checking.
Sure. Let me use the restroom real quick.
Oh, okay. Do.
Alright. Back.
Alright, brother. So let me clarify. Your background is really less of a, important mechanical choice and a lot more of the role-playing aspect. And it's just something to give a bit of lore to your character.
Sure.
Where did they come from? what are their dreams, goals? What is his wants, needs? Where did he, how did he gain these magical powers and other skills?
Sure.
So, and the reason I picked Sage for you is because here's the description of the Sage. Now, you can actually make up your own backgrounds, but here's the description of Sage. You spent years learning the lore of the multiverse. You scoured manuscripts, studied scrolls, and listened to the greatest experts on the subjects that interest you. Your efforts have made you a master in your fields of study. Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
So the skill, so when you choose a background, you get 2 skill proficiencies. The skill proficiencies for Sage are Arcana and History. Now, I already picked Arcana for you from being a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than losing out, what happens is you can then pick anyone to replace it that you kind of justify in your background, in your made-up story about your character.
Got it. Okay, so I already have that
So
skill
you could actually totally pick Deception. I also put History in there, of course, but you could totally pick Deception. Maybe he has studied lying, even though he's not innately not talented at it because he's not charismatic and he's socially awkward. Maybe he has made that part of his training as a sage.
Right.
I
guess that it could make a degree of sense that he'd be okay at he'd be bad at lying but good at seeing when other people are lying because
that's coming from his wisdom. So he is naturally very good at seeing when other people are lying. And if you want him to have actual training on top of his wisdom, then you would choose Insight.
Okay.
So you could click the drop down where it says Medicine
Yeah.
and choose Insight instead if you wish.
And that, okay. Let me see here. Let me give these another read here. Acrobatics, animal handling. Oh, they like repeat. It's like the same thing 3 times. Oh, it's the same thing twice. That's weird.
What?
The drop down menu goes from acrobatics to survival, and then acrobatics to survival again. Like there's 2 different places to pick acrobatics and 2 different places to pick everything. But it's fine. Doesn't matter.
That's super strange.
Do you see what I'm talking about, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Whatever.
really weird. I never noticed that before.
Well, I was just like scrolling down and like, okay, there's a lot of things here, but there's half as many things as I thought there were. Divination, insight, medicine, nature, performance, persuasion, religion, sleight of hand, stealth, survival, acrobatics. I think insight makes sense, right?
Sure.
That's the of everything on this list. That's the least self-explanatory. Can you tell me what that is again?
So Insight is the skill of having insight into other people's motives, what they're thinking, telling if they're lying. People tend to use it as like the lie detector skill, which is a little silly, but that's kind of how it gets used.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. It's persuasion, religion. I'm imagining sleight of hand. I'm imagining him like practicing card tricks.
Sure.
Every day.
There's also a spell that lets you do card tricks. like any kind of sleight of hand magic. But
Sorry, taking a while here.
Sleight of hand also lists like for picking pockets, or yeah, that kind of thing.
Persuasion. I don't know. I just feel like he's more. I feel like he's a more straightforward person than like insight or deception or something like that. I'm trying to find the one that feels right here. I guess nature feels right. That feels like a thing that he'd study.
Okay, so has he got personal experience with nature?
Probably less so.
Or has he just read a lot of like
probably
taxonomy
mostly
of animals and plants?
Probably that one. Probably mostly book smarts.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Rad.
But, you know, probably be very good at identifying plants on the ground and knowing what their uses are, and, you know, the one ancient civilization that used to grind them up and use them as face paint or whatever. Stuff like that.
Nice. All right. Well, now that you've done that,
and then there's 2 languages, right? Which you already picked. Why did you
I
pick?
picked 2. You know, I just kind of picked them. Infernal and Giant.
Is there like a famous university he would have come from that would be run by people who speak a different language?
So, it's certainly possible that he could have lived at Arkney, where there are a lot of gnomes. Arkney in the library of Ibogruger, although I was thinking that he'd be traveling there. Maybe he's traveling back there. Mm-hmm. There's also the other possibility is that I was thinking he could have been living at the Palace of White Witch, which lies to the south of Toreen, in which the players have never heard of. The other players have never heard of. That could certainly be... here, I'll show you on the map where that is.
There needs to be a way to minimize my character sheet.
There isn't. Yeah, there isn't. White Witch is right here.
That castle-looking thing?
Yeah, it's spelled White, W-Y-C-H.
1315. And who runs... I don't know, what language would be spoken there?
Infernal would be one. It is, there's a lot of tieflings, which are kind of folk that have fiendish, demonic, or devilish blood in their heritage. So they're, you know, normal people, but they're kind of like, almost appear as like half demon.
Okay. Why don't we say Gnomish and Infernal, because I've spent some time at both places before.
Okay. Well, you could certainly have learned Gnomish for any number of reasons. Actually, there's a gnome settlement not far from which I'm not sure, unless you want... I don't really want you to have been from Arkney.
Okay.
If you're gonna have spent time at White Witch. Because I want you to be able to experience discovering the town for the first time and various other reasons.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be burdening you quite a bit with the history of the world that the players don't know that much about.
Right.
The other players don't know that much about. They know a bit.
Right.
So I don't want to like double up on that by like, also, you know all about this town that everyone's about to travel to.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
But Gnomish makes perfect sense.
Okay. For sure. Sounds good. I guess gnomes are, like, associated with being bookish sometimes. They can be, right? Like, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining the like.
Absolutely, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
You may have learned Gnome to read certain arcane gnomish texts.
There we go.
That would make perfect sense.
All
right. So I think we're done with the background.
You already picked researcher. And
I actually wrote all that text in for the researcher ability.
Oh, really?
So go ahead and read that out loud so that we both remember what that does.
When you attempt to learn or recall a piece of lore, if you do not know that information, you often know where and from whom you can obtain it. Usually this information comes from a library, scriptorium, university, or a sage or other learned person or creature. Your DM might rule that the knowledge you seek is secreted away in an almost inaccessible place, or that it simply cannot be found. Unearthing the deepest secrets of the universe can require an adventure or even a whole campaign of the multiverse.
That's actually one of the more useful background abilities. Believe it or not.
Cool.
So,
wait,
that's
a thing you wrote. Like, research is not like a normal thing.
It is. I copied it out of the book.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Cool. Often I have to be like, I'm gonna make this ability good, even though it doesn't sound very useful. But this one actually is really useful. So I don't think I'm gonna have to step in. So this is what you were worried about. Sage background is awesome. Tic-tac-doe. Thanks for coming by. Hang out, throw a follow, do whatever. So what was I saying? You were worried about you're coming into a campaign with as a character who's gonna have a lot of knowledge that the other players aren't supposed to have yet. How is that going to work? Are you going to have to constantly ask me? Well, here's how. If you don't know something and you can't make the history check or whatever, you can say, I'll use my researcher ability. And you'll just have kind of an innate sense of where you need to go to find the information you are looking for. So that kind of resolves the thing you were worried about, I think.
Cool.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tic-Tac-Doe. Appreciate the follow very much. Alright. That way you can get notified when we actually play tonight. Okay. I think we're done with the background, yes?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
History and nature, gnomish and infernal. I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Interesting that you ended up with gnomish. I think that is really interesting. There's another character that I think you're going to share 2 languages with.
They speak gnomish and infernal. Oh, what else? Wait, do I speak other things?
Draconic, Elvish, and Common.
Draconic. What is Draconic?
Draconic is the language of dragons.
Right,
it is also the language in which a lot of the most ancient arcane textbooks are written. It's just a very old and pretty useful language. But if you want to replace Draconic, we can go back.
No, that works for me. That sounds cool.
I mean, I picked it for you, so if you want to personalize it yourself.
I don't know what else to pick.
Tic-Tac-Doe says, I like playing the Sage as the librarian bounty hunter. You search for people who checked out books and never returned them.
It's really funny.
Actually, right now, the bard in the party is adventuring to return an arcane book to a library that Leo's character, who we haven't named yet, is also adventuring too. So yes, the return of a library book is figuring large, and it's so far. She actually hasn't even used the magical powers of this book. She's just been traveling to return it to the library. Okay, so let's hit next. We're done with the background for now.
Cool.
You're going to equipment?
Yes.
Okay. So I already filled some of this in. And you can change it as you like. Basically, I'd like to do the class equipment. There's a couple of other ways, but that's how we're doing it in this game.
Sure.
So I picked, you basically get 2 choices for each one, and you can feel free to change it. The quarterstaff or dagger. Quarterstaff is a big stick that you use to whack people. That's going to be based more on your strength. Dagger is going to be based more on your dexterity.
Yeah, so given my dexterity and strength choices, I'd like to change that to dagger.
Go for it.
Leo, perhaps the bard own 200.
Perhaps the bard owes 200 gold in back fees, and you are there to follow them until they repay their fine. Well, actually, the bard discovered this library book, I think, in a dungeon during the game, and there isn't an actual credit page to the library. It's just the imprint of one that used to be there, a label that used to be there. So we'll see what happens when she actually arrives at the library of Ibu Gruger.
So what is a component pouch and what is an arcane focus?
Okay, so that actually has a pretty important flavor impact on your character. Basically, when you cast your spells, are you the kind of wizard who has like a magic ring or a staff or a wand or like a glass orb or any of those other kinds of things? Or are you like a Vancian wizard, which is like when you cast Fireball, you have a bit of sulfur in your hands, and you rub it together, and an explosion occurs. When you cast Mage Armor, you have a bit of tough leather that you hold, and its power, and you kind of transfer that power to surround you. When you cast, Featherfall, you have a feather, that kind of thing. So spells, basically, how do you cast your spells? Now, I will say, there's maybe a slight mechanical advantage to a component pouch. Barely noticeable at all. And I just think component pouch is cool because it kind of has a lot more. There's a lot of history in D&D with the component pouch. Like the arcane focus thing is a bit more of a more recent addition to the game. But there's a slight mechanical advantage to a component pouch in that you have everything you need in the pouch, unless it costs money. When you have an arcane focus, if it costs money, you still need it anyway. And if some creature comes along and breaks your staff, then you can't cast spells until you get it replaced. Whereas if somebody comes along and steals your component pouch, well, you could still find a piece of leather or, a special rock or whatever, and be able to cast that spell. So it's a slight mechanical advantage. Obviously, it only really matters in a very specific circumstance. And I will say, I don't know if I've ever done that to a player.
Broken their staff, you mean?
In over 15 years of playing D. Well, the staff thing I said is more recent. But I don't know if I've ever done something like mess with their component pouch or stolen their spell book in 15 years of playing D&D. But maybe this will be the first time. But that it could happen. I've just said there's a very, very small mechanical advantage to one of them, but hardly noticeable. You almost certainly won't come up with the game. But it's really how you see your wizard. How what's cooler to you in that choice.
Okay. I think that it would make a degree of sense that as he's reading, these books, spell books and stuff, that historians have logged in, from the past. There would be entries like, and here, pressed into the page, is the piece of leather that Gregor the Great used to use in the battle, in the battle
Nice.
of whatever. So he collects those from the books that he reads and has a component, and puts them in his component pouch,
Nice.
and then learns his spells.
So, so you picture him as more of a nerdy collector than a staff wielding.
You cut out. Sorry.
More of a nerdy collector than a staff wielding
Exactly.
Gandalf style mage.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly.
I guess Gandalf has a staff and a ring, but let's move
I
on.
don't remember his ring.
Dude, the ring of the flame. Oh my gosh, he yells it in the Balrog scene.
It's been so long since I read those books.
Gandalf has one of the 3 elf rings. What? Sir.
Sorry.
Sir.
Outing myself here.
Good sir. You have some reading to do.
I do, I know. They're on my list. There's too many things.
Don't worry about it. Okay, Gandalf has one of the 3 elf rings.
That makes sense.
And it's the Ring of Fire, so he has special fire powers all the time.
Component pouch has awesome roleplay flavor.
Yes, it does. Okay, so you're sticking with the component pouch. You said you're changing quarterstaff to daggers, so go ahead and do that.
I did that. And
Now,
I
the
probably
Scholar's
should not
Pack
pay for
or Explorer's Pack. Now, the Scholar's Pack... I chose Explorer's Pack because the Scholar's Pack has things like paper and ink and a fancy quill and, other stuff that a scholar uses. Good for a historian. But the Explorer's Pack is it's just got all the things that adventurers need. It's going to have some rope.
And what's in the
figure,
Scholars? Oh, wait, the Scholars Pack. Scholars Pack is like quill and paper. Explorer's Pack is like rope.
An Explorer's Pack is like rope and a bedroll and the things that you need when you're sleeping out on the road. And, I mean, look, I think the Scholar's Pack actually has worth more money. But I recommend the Explorer's Pack.
On the one hand, you could say, he was a scholar. But on the other hand, he did venture out and was aware that he was going, out. And I feel like he's smart enough to pack a bedroll and rope. So let's go.
The Flame of Arnor. That's right, Tic-Tac-Doe. Thank you. That was going to drive me insane.
Wait,
I was going to Google it real quick. The Flame of Arnor. Gandalf, when he fights the...
Oh, that's the name of the...
You're killing me.
You need paper and 50
Face
gold
me,
worth of
Flame of
per
Udun.
level, per spell to add spells as you level. So that's the use of the Scholar's
Yes, Tic-Tac-Doe points out you do need paper and 50 gold of ink paper per level per spell to add spells as you level. Well, slight correction, Tic-Tac-Doe. You don't actually need to spend that money for the spells you get from leveling. Now, spells you find in your adventures that you want to add to your spell book, right? You get a certain amount of spells automatically as you level, and you can add those into your spell book. But those don't cost you any money in my campaign. If you find a scroll, some other wizard spellbook maybe, or another wizard scroll with a spell on it that they've created, you can add that into your spellbook, and then you will need, as Tic-Tac-Doe points out, paper and ink, and so it can be useful in that way. Like, there are reasons, as a wizard or as a scholar, you might need to write stuff down, etc. The Scholar's Pack isn't a terrible choice. It's just that the Explorer's Pack, as an adventurer, it really, it just has all the basics.
Alright, let's stick with the basics.
Okay. But thank you for pointing that out, Tic-Tac-Doe. I appreciate it. Okay, so now you've done that. We've done the equipment there. Now wait a minute. There should be equipment based on your background. Equipment for background Sage. Oh, it's automatically going to add that. It's automatically going to add that. Great.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, or if not, I'll open up the book and we'll do that. Okay.
Gotcha. Did it update to Dagger for you, by the way?
Let's did it update to Dagger? Yeah, I have to close the page and reopen it to see it.
I also closed the page and reopened it, so I don't know.
Let's go back to background for a second.
Okay.
Did it go away?
It looks like it did. What? Did everything go away? No, not abilities is still there.
Okay, that's really weird.
No, wait. It's got. Well, Sage.
Oh, it was just taking a second to load.
Maybe.
Okay.
Although, the custom background feature thing is blank for me. The research.
Deleted all your proficiencies.
Maybe me closing it and reopening it was what killed it.
Maybe. Alright, let's... Oh no, we have to write in that whole thing again.
I got the gist.
Of your ability.
Of the researcher thing, you mean?
Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah, the text of researcher.
I remember it.
Alright, well...
You can just do
really
the quick
annoying.
sum, like...
Alright, fine. Let's just keep going. Well,
When you don't have information, you know where to find it.
Alright.
That was basically...
Well, no, because there's some role-playing things for your background that I want to put in. Proficiencies type name Sage. No, not Acolyte. Custom name Sage. That's really freaking weird.
I mean, I just added
Gosh.
the proficiencies and languages that I had.
Alright, you just do it and just keep going.
Yeah. I just...
Alright. Fill that stuff in real quick, okay? You know what it was.
Yeah.
And let's go to your if you scroll down below the proficiencies and just put in the name researcher for the ability.
Yeah, I did that.
That's really gonna make me sad if it deleted that. Let's go ahead and input your character background stuff. So, is there a space for specialty?
Under where?
Like around researcher before it?
Researcher, and then there's a text
Or
box.
a custom thing?
I could add another feature, so I could have 2 custom background features.
No, that would be.
And then there's
something else.
personality traits, ideal, bond, and
Okay.
flaw.
I guess Sage just has like a special thing called the specialty. Yeah, add it to the custom like background stuff.
So create a second custom background feature.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. To determine the nature of your scholarly training, roll a dice, d8, or choose from the options in the table below. So, I can read these off, and you can pick one, or we can roll it randomly. Considering that we do have some things figured out about the character already, I'll just read them off really quick.
Okay.
Specialty: alchemist, astronomer, discredited academic, librarian, professor, researcher, wizard's apprentice, or scribe.
He's an academic. Or no, that was
Not a
discredited
researcher.
academic.
Not a researcher.
Oh, he's a researcher. He's a researcher. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was writing shorthand what you were saying, and I wrote academic, but what you actually said was discredited academic, which he's not.
He's not an academic anymore. He's taken to the road.
Right. All right, researcher.
All right. So
but I already have researcher as a custom background feature.
So we have researcher.
Wait a sec. Okay, hold on. That's not.
All right, fine. Just delete it then. Let's go to your personality traits.
Okay.
All right. I'm keeping it closed because I don't want to go and mess it up. All right. So, roll a d8. So this is going to randomly generate a suggested personality trait for us. And this is going to help us spark some role-playing ideas. Now this is more something for you to play off of and give you an idea.
Okay.
If you want to take this just straight from the book, that's fine. If you are like not like that but like this, that's fine. If you're like totally not that, or even let's roll again, we can. Okay? So this is just a suggested personality trait, just to give you some ideas.
Okay.
I love tables because they give you ideas.
Sure.
You got a 5. I'm willing to listen to every side of an argument before I make my own judgment.
Love it.
Wow, that actually fits you like perfectly with your high intelligence and high wisdom.
Absolutely perfect.
Excellent.
So, should I write that into personality trait?
Yes.
I'm willing to listen to every side of an argument before making a decision.
Nice. All right, let's go for your ideal. And of course, you can add more personality traits, or whatever you want. But let's go to your ideal. What's the ideal that you pursue? So go ahead and roll a d8. Again, this is just a suggestion. This is just to spark ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Another 5. Power. Knowledge is the path to power and domination. Parenthesis evil.
Knowledge is the path to domination.
That's the suggested. We could reroll. We could.
I kind of like that as a slight spin on that, which is my character thinks that he's like he thinks that he craves domination in like a nerdy way, where he's like, I'll show them all one day, and I'll get really smart to do it. So
okay.
That works for me.
All right. So your ideal, is I'll show them all one day with my huge brain.
Huge brain.
You literally wrote that down. Nice. All right. Let's do bond. Go ahead and roll a d6.
Another 5.
Just 5s all the way through.
That's right.
Alright, here's the suggestion. I've been searching my whole life for the answer to a certain question.
Why are all these so accidentally perfect?
I don't know.
Are they, like, what is 4 out of curiosity?
Number 4 is, my life's work is a series of tomes related to a specific field of lore.
Okay, so they all actually fit really well, regardless.
Well, we would probably try to come up with what the certain question is for your bond.
Yep.
It does narrow your focus a bit.
Sure.
My best friend is Pinky. Tic-tac-toe. The same thing we do every night, Leo.
That's right.
Try and take over the world.
That's right. Using my huge brain. For the record, I do know what you're
Okay, so you like the idea of been searching my whole life for the answer to a certain question, or Is that kind of inspiring? Maybe the answer to something.
I mean,
what kind? You said it felt perfect. So, what kind of topic would your character be obsessed with? Give me a general category.
Character be obsessed with. So you're looking for a question that's like academic, or
Not
could it really be
necessarily.
anything? Because I mentioned that in the original planning for this character that the reason I left the university is because I heard a calling and I couldn't quite figure out what it was.
Right.
So what if I've been hearing? I could have been hearing that my entire life and just ignoring it. And went to study, and the question I'm trying to answer is what is this voice in my head?
Okay, yeah, no. Write up exactly what you sent me.
You cut out what?
Write up exactly what you sent me. You texted it to me.
See here.
Your bond is a calling has pulled me out to seek what? Just to wander? Have you been bitten by the elven wanderlust?
Strange force telling Colin eventually talking to him in his dreams, and some purpose will fill in the outside world. What if it was to cure the world of some evil?
Ooh. Okay. All right.
I don't know. Spitballing here.
What evil? What kind of evil? I can tell you what evil, but you have to tell me what kind. Is it something that's personally affected him, or is it something he read about? Is it some terrible doom that has befallen the ancient empire of Ebb, and you fear that this doom is going to come round again all these centuries later? And
am I old enough to have experienced it the first time around? Or maybe my parents experienced it?
Yeah, your parents probably. The Empire of Ebb was nearly 1,000 years ago.
Okay, so how about
So it's certainly possible.
All right. How about that terrible doom, that terrible fate befell my, I guess, grandparents, and they snuck my parents out of it. And I grew up hearing stories of the whatever this dark fate was.
I love it.
And I've dedicated much of my research to historical accounts of that empire.
I love it.
And the whatever it is that killed all of them, that my parents
That's
escaped.
Amazing. Absolutely. So write down that your bond is I need to find a way to prevent the same doom that came before from happening again.
Great.
The doom that came to the Empire of Ebb. Or the Kingdom of Ebb. Alright. Excellent.
Is that EBB?
Yes.
Alright, flaw.
Alright. Whew, that's going to be interesting. Okay. Oh, man, I love it. Okay, roll a d6 for a suggested flaw.
I don't understand the implications of the thing that I just said, but it sounds cool.
Good.
A D6, you said. Another 5?
You are just 5s across the board.
It's 4 5s.
I don't know. I don't know. See, this is why dice make things interesting. Okay. 5 on the flaws is I speak without really thinking through my words, invariably insulting others.
Might have a hard time RPing that just in like conversations with other players.
Well, you were talking about him being a socially awkward person.
That's true.
Who's spent most of his time with books and not speaking to people in person.
That's true.
So, of course, the difference between written down histories and characters and actually talking to someone face to face might be that he is insulting. We could certainly roll a d6 and get another suggestion, or we could make up a different flaw.
I don't hate it.
What would be a flaw that this character would be likely to have that you would like to RP? Roll another d6. Let's get another suggestion.
Let's see here. I'm not.
If this is a 5, then something.
Wait, I rolled. That was me just typing. I rolled a d5 by accident.
The 4 is I overlook.
Well, hold on. Okay. I got a 2.
Oh, that was a d5.
I rolled a d5. I missed.
Okay. Number 2 is most people scream and run when they see a demon. I stop and take notes on its anatomy.
I kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Then again, I'm supposed to be very, very smart and
true,
very intelligent and wise. It doesn't really sound like the actions of someone who's all too bright.
Okay. Well, what is your flaw then?
All right. You know what? I'll stick with the like brutal honesty to the point of insult.
Oof, brutal honesty to the point of insult. All right.
Isn't that what 5 was?
That is what your interpretation of 5 is.
Oh, all right.
Which is not what it says.
What did 5 say?
I speak without really thinking through my words, invariably insulting others. Your version of brutal honesty makes, I think, a certain amount of sense with your low charisma, and that's an interesting interpretation of a high wisdom, high intelligence character who keeps insulting people.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that it's not that he is, it's not that he is...
He's not condescending.
Tactless, exactly. It's that he is just brutally honest, just precise.
Yeah.
Talking about things that will make people sad.
Sure.
All right. So now we have a picture of this character. And through the background, which is excellent. Okay. I'm afraid of opening up your character sheet in case I mess it up. So, go to the next thing. What's the next thing?
Equipment. We already did that. We were filling in more background stuff. Black truth.
There are white lies. Lies that seek experience of the feelings, and there are black truths. Truth said in the meanest way or lacking empathy. I've never heard of black truths before, but I like that phrase, and I am adopting it. So, what's next, Leo?
Equipment, which we already did, and then spells.
Okay. So what have I filled in for spells?
So the very first thing, you filled in my cantrip as message. My elf cantrip, rather. And then my wizard cantrips as minor illusion, ray of frost, and mage hand.
Okay.
So what are...
So we can change these around. I just wanted to fill in a bunch of suggestions. Now, it's worth noting that your okay, so the high elf cantrips and the wizard cantrips, once that's just delineating how they are selected. But they're just cantrips.
Sure.
So those 4 spells are going to be ones that you can always cast. Like, you don't need your spell book, you don't need to prepare them, you don't need to, I don't think they require any material components from your spell component pouch or anything like that. So these are the spells that are always automatic. If you click the drop down, you can see some other options. Now, these are my suggestions. I chose Message because that lets you whisper and let someone hear it like 120 feet away.
Yeah, I just read the text for that.
Lets you secretly communicate. It can be very useful in RP encounters. And
You cut out there.
Just general long-distance communication. It can be very useful in role-playing encounters, etc.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I keep talking away from the microphone because I'm looking at your camera. Ray of Frost is a very good, just kind of basic attack cantrip. A ray of ice shoots out of your finger and does a little bit of damage. And Ray of Frost actually has the added benefit of slowing down the enemy a little bit for a turn. I skipped Minor Illusion. I'll come back to that. Now, there are other 2 options instead of Ray of Frost. There's several other options. But in terms of ones that are pretty good, there's also the fire one, which I think is Flame Bolt or something, Firebolt. You could certainly take, yeah.
You're under wizard cantrips right now.
Yeah.
Going through. Okay, cool.
So you could take Firebolt if you like fire instead of frost. It does do a little bit more damage, and it has a longer range, so it can shoot people from farther away as well. And it can set things on fire. It's pretty good. I will say one of the other players already has it.
The fire one?
Yes, a sorcerer. Already has the Firebolt, so I was like, it's fine to use a little bit of out-of-game knowledge to just kind of make things fit together neatly. But that doesn't mean that you can't take it. You can certainly take it. You could take a totally different cantrip. If any of them are jumping out at you, please let me know.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. There's
Another recommendation I had was Mage Hand. Mage Hand is just very all-around useful. It lets you, have a little hand that's pretty weak. Like, it can't lift a lot of weight, but it can, open doors. It can, in case they're trapped.
Sure.
It can, pick up things, move a rope end across a chasm. All kinds of things that are very, very useful to an adventurer. And it just has some good role-playing value as well.
Sure.
Minor Illusion is I put on there. Now, Minor Illusion is really, I would say, very optional. It's probably the best cantrip. It just lets you create a little illusion of anything up to a 5-foot square. So it really depends on your creativity.
How is that different from prestidigitation?
Excellent question. So prestidigitation.
Wow, that was impressive.
Well, I've had some practice. Prestidigitation is a great candidate. You could certainly take it as well as Minor Illusion. You could certainly replace any of these spells with it, but it's mostly an RP thing.
Yeah, I can tell that it's an RP thing, but
yeah. So
like it's
doing card tricks, doing dice tricks, doing little things, changing the color of stuff, instantly cleaning things, heating up your food. All kinds of just really neat little RP things that. If you were really in the game, you would probably value very highly. Less of a combat application for Prestidigitation. It doesn't usually get cast during a fight, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It has lots of roleplay value.
Mm-hmm. So that's like Prestidigitation is like small, very like smaller things, whereas Minor Illusion is like you make it look like there's an extra table setting, or you make it sound like there's another 10 people behind hiding instead of just one, or what. I don't know.
Yeah, Minor Illusion has more combat applications for sure.
Like a little bit.
You could more impact. You make a 5-foot wall appear that somebody an illusion. It's an illusion, so people can just move through it. It doesn't have any physicality.
Got it.
And it can only do objects. Minor Illusion. You can't make a creature appear. But I think you can create sound. What?
If you create a sound, it's a volume range from whisper to scream. Right. It can't be a sound and a thing, though. It has to be either sound or object. Mm-hmm. And that's Minor Illusion. Okay.
So again, Minor Illusion, if you're creative with it, it has the potential to be the best cantrip, just because it's so versatile, right? Could be anything you can come up with. That's an illusion, based on all those restrictions. But again, if you aren't feeling particularly confident in that, you may want to replace it.
Gotcha.
Or any of these. These are just my recommendations.
Sure.
So, what's jumping out at you in the cantrips? Do you want to replace any of these?
Clicking through them and trying to skim some of the descriptions here. It sounds like it could be useful even to take Prestidigitation and Minor Illusion.
Absolutely.
Because I
they
can
do
take
different
the
things.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of crossover, but they do mainly different things.
Sure. Let me see here. And then the other two I'd like to probably should be damage dealing, so I have some utility. It needs rings from your hand to deliver a shock to a creature you try to touch. Make a melee. Each hand. Alright, Ray of Frost works for me.
Thunder, we're hitting a storm here. So it's possible I may cut out.
Got it. Noted. If I took Minor Illusion and Prestidigitation, I probably don't need Mage Hand also.
They do very different things. They all do different things.
Yeah, but it feels like I should have some damage, some damage dealing.
I would suggest having at least one damaging cantrip is when you're first starting out in the game. Probably a good idea, just so that you have a fallback.
Right, but it seems like maybe I should have 2 damage dealing
cantrips.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, Firebolt's not going to be very useful against something that's immune to fire. There's certainly reason to. I wouldn't say it's super important at this low level to have multiple damaging cantrips. You certainly can, but you're only going to be able to cast one spell every turn.
Right.
In combat. So, what you're basically saying is I want the versatility of dealing different damage types or damage in different ways. There's another one in a that's not in here called Toll the Dead. that like targets people's wisdom saves, so you can deal damage to it does damage to injured creatures, or more damage to injured creatures. So there's a couple different options. There's certainly possible reasons to. That's not my recommendation, but you certainly could.
Okay. So, I think that I'm going to take Prestidigitation, Minor Illusion, and Mage Hand for maximum levels of Trickery. Plus Ray of Frost for the damage. And then I'm going to go back to my background thing, and instead of Nature, I am going to take Deception.
Okay, make sure...
proficiency.
Oh boy, okay. Go ahead and make all those edits. I'm going to close it so that hopefully I don't mess it up. Don't you close it.
No, I just made those edits.
Oh, okay.
So I have Prestidigitation, Minor Illusion, Mage Hand, and Ray of Frost. And under Background, my proficiencies are now History and Deception.
Alright, are you back at spells?
I am, except that it's being annoying. Prestidigitation, Minor Illusion.
Did it
Mage
reset?
Hand. It reset, not just a little bit of it, not most of it. Just it's fine.
The changes I think it's because I closed it. I think it saved it when I closed it. Okay.
But maybe it only saves your changes, or my
weird.
changes,
That's really annoying.
I don't know. Let's see.
I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna open your character sheet anymore. I think I messed it up.
It seems inconvenient.
That's okay.
Okay, I have those spells. Okay, and then Wizard level 1. So, yeah, Prestidigitation, Minor Illusion, Mage Hand, Ray of Frost.
I'm just gonna look through my token collection and see if there's one for you.
Okay, and then Wizard level 1, you've also already picked out Mage, Armor, Find Familiar, Shield, Sleep, Grease, and Magic Missile.
What are they again? What are the suggestions?
Mage Armor, Find Familiar, Shield, Sleep, Grease, Magic Missile.
Okay. Of those, the strongest suggestion is Mage Armor.
Okay. Cool.
The reason being is that it's going to improve your armor class, and you didn't get armor proficiency from either your background, your race, or your class. So you're not going to be wearing armor, unless you get proficiency later somehow. So you want some magic armor to raise your armor class. So of those, that's my strongest recommendation. Shield is also really good for that same reason. But since you're low level, since you're first level, you don't get that many spells to cast. You're only going to cast 2 first level spells per day. Remember, the cantrips you can cast over and over and over again.
Right.
But first level spells are a big investment. Casting one of them is could turn the tide in a fight. So
what level
Shield is really good. Shield is really good, but it only really works against one attack.
Gotcha. What level is everyone else?
Everyone else is 3rd level.
Ish. Okay.
I thought about making you 3rd level. But I don't want to give you too much to manage.
Okay.
Alright. So if the guest star thing continues beyond just one session, then we'll probably level you up quickly.
Alright, I like Mage Armor, I like Find Familiar, I like Shield, I like Sleep.
Oh yeah, Find Familiar is the best first level spell.
Yeah, I gotta keep
you
that.
You can get a little pet.
Grease, love it, perfect, and Magic Missile's like the standard classic one, which, sure, I'll keep it. Alright, I'm happy with all the level 1 spells.
Oh, you're taking Grease.
That was one of your suggestions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Grease is kind of a battlefield control thing.
It's kind of a what?
It's a battlefield control thing. It's only going to grease a small part of the battlefield, but if you grease the right part of the battlefield, whoo, baby, that can make a big impact.
Sure.
All right. Well, if you're happy with them, then great.
Yeah, they all look good.
All right.
No changes.
What's next?
Feats.
Feats. I don't think you have any feats. You're first level. You only get feats at 4th level.
Okay. Bio.
Okay, so mainly the bio is what you wrote to me in text. So you can fill that in later.
Well, it's just name, age, height, weight, eyes, hair, and skin.
Oh, well then let's pick that.
Okay.
It's time to choose a name. Alright, well if you want some suggested names, we can go to a name generator. I love fantasynamegenerators.com. And we can pick out some elven names.
Can I just be Samson?
Samson?
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Okay, cool.
I wouldn't say it's super elfy, but sure.
No.
It also is kind of funny considering your low strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
The suggested names I have here are Ernan, Keasalor, Thetumal, Omazyros, Zoomzoomin.
If I'm gonna have a wacky name, I feel like it has to come from me. You know, like if you're gonna have something wacky, it's got to be your own.
Yeah, sometimes I just use these as suggestions, but you are certainly allowed to make it up. So Samson, what's his last name? You've mentioned his grandparents, so definitely has he got their names? That set of grandparents.
Sure. What would be I don't know.
Daydark, Elnun, Sorrow, Ianro, Perxidor, Fargeros. I had a character named Krajor Fargeros.
Give me like
Adzerwin, Valro, Huinwarin, Yelwar.
How do you feel about Deharo spelled like that?
I think it's interesting.
Cool. Alright. He's probably
probably that's like interesting. I detect a certain French influence on there, which the empire, the last empire, not the Empire of Ebb, which is the older empire, but the previous empire had this kind of French feel to it, the Veille Empire.
How about the reason that my name isn't conventional is my grandparents insisted on having names that didn't sound like they were from the Kingdom of Ebb because of the disaster that befell there, and it was like hiding, not unlike like the Jews changed their names and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as you know, you don't. I mean, the Empire of Ebb. There's just that's a difficult topic. There's not a lot of surviving information about exactly what happened.
I assume a little bit of something was passed down.
A little bit of something.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're basically saying like, well, 3 generations of elves were very long-lived. It kind of stretches back to before the Doom came to the Kingdom of Ebb.
I'm just saying maybe they, as part of immigrating to the New Kingdom, they took on a French name. Or a French
I don't know if that is French, but Daharo is your last name.
It's cool.
It's cemented now. Samson Daharo. Okay, let's fill in the rest of it.
Let's say what makes sense. Probably like 400, 350.
How old you are?
Yeah.
Sure. You are 350 years old. You've seen a lot.
Cool. 350. Are elves typically much taller than the average human, or same, or?
In my world, they are slight.
They are what?
They tend to be slight, shorter, very dexterous.
Okay. Let's call them 5'9" then.
That's pretty tall. That's
okay.
Very tall for an elf.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm long and slender.
Okay.
Weight 5'9". Probably like 140.
All right.
Pretty, not very strong. I've got I don't know, green eyes. Silvery hair, and light complexion, or pasty even, pasty. White and pasty.
In the last 200 years, he hasn't gotten a lot of sun.
No, not so much. All right, done. Quick and easy.
All right.
Review. So it's highlighted the things that I didn't.
What is not filled in? What's it highlighted?
I didn't choose my alignment.
Oh, yes. We'll pick that. Okay.
I haven't... because it deleted researcher, it says I haven't picked one of my personality traits. Oh, wait, no, never mind. You're just supposed to have... That's not what that problem is, because I filled in researcher.
You're supposed to have what?
You're supposed to have 2 personality traits. There's like 2 spots for personality traits, and one of mine is blank.
Oh. Should we pick another one?
Sure. Yeah, because I'm willing to listen to both sides before making a decision, but I don't have the second one filled in.
Okay. Roll a d8 for a suggestion.
7.
I am horribly, horribly awkward in social situations.
I don't think he's horribly, horribly awkward. I think that's a little too far. And that's already basically what his flaw is. So, I don't know if that's...
The brutal honesty.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's more a flaw than a personality trait anyways.
Alright. So what else then? What's the one he already has?
I'm willing to listen to every side before making a decision.
How about, he gets distracted when there's, research materials around. He's just
what does that mean?
More interested in books than in people.
Alright, perfect. More interested in books than in people.
Excellent.
Great.
Alright, let's go to alignment.
Yes. Seems to be the only thing missing. Alright, so I know a little bit about this. A little bit.
So basically there are 2 axes. Good and evil, and law and chaos, and neutral is in the middle.
Right.
And I mean, they all require a little bit of explanation, I suppose. But you say you already are a little familiar. Do you have an idea of what this character's alignment might be?
I'm familiar with what the different alignments basically mean. It's more or less.
Right.
I mean, it's also like pretty explanatory based on the name, but what would he be?
How does he treat those he has power over? Yomi! Hey there, Yomi. Look whose stream I managed to catch. Welcome. Yeah, we're making my brother an elf wizard for the game tonight. If you can come by, that'd be awesome. Hey, Yomi, if you haven't followed already, throw me a follow, man. Dude. Oh, you're already following. Yeah, I thought so. Fun 8 as usual. I've changed the start time to 8:30 due to baby going to sleep at 8.
You cut out for me. You might have cut out for the stream as well.
Oh, where did I cut out?
With the time.
Oh, it's 8:30. 8:30. All my streams are at 8:30 now.
Interesting. It only cut out for me. Huh.
8:30, 8:45. But yeah, I have actually a countdown on my stream page now.
Nice.
So yeah. Anyway, yes, we're making this elf wizard, but I had to close it because I was messing up the things Leo was inputting. So, alignment. What's jumping out at you? I think I have some thoughts, but I think he's probably a good alignment from what I've heard.
I was about to say, I feel like he's probably good because, you know, he wants to prevent the evil that happened to Ebb from coming to the world.
Although, come to think of it, that is just as likely to drive someone to evil if, they are of the belief that
by any means necessary.
Yeah, by any means necessary. I'm going to prevent the doom that came to the kingdom of Ebb from coming again. That could lead someone down an evil path. I don't really want you to play an evil character.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't quite sound right.
But okay. But it's certainly okay. So it's led him down a path of good. So we know he's good and not just neutral because he's trying to do something to help the world.
See, but it feels like chaotic good does imply that the ends justify the means to a degree. Right? Isn't that what basically that means?
What?
Chaotic good. Like, it's okay to break the law as long as you're getting the job done.
That is one possible interpretation. I would say that if you don't care about the law, it's more likely that you're neutral good. Like, if you're willing to work within the law, unless it's inconvenient in order to do good, you might break it, then sure. It's more, but again, like, this isn't a straitjacket. It's how does your character handle problems? How does your character, what does your character believe in? Are the two questions at play here. So, I would say Yomi suggests that chaotic good means do the right thing no matter what. That's possibly one interpretation. I would say that if you're chaotic rather than neutral, then you are at minimum very suspicious of law. You tend toward you tend toward being suspicious of the government, of wherever you happen to be. You tend toward liking a free and a more free lifestyle, and you're suspicious of restrictions at best, and rabidly anti, maybe even anarchist, if it's taken to an extreme. So chaotic means that you don't like the law. If you just don't really care about the law one way or the other necessarily, then it's probably neutral good. The thing we know for sure is good here, but So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? And this can change. You're not locked into this forever. Neutral good or chaotic good is kind of where we're at.
Yeah. It feels like I don't think that anarchy is right, but I do think he would have a degree of suspicion about the law and right and wrong. From,
Okay.
Just from like a sense of like he's probably read a good deal of philosophy books and like other law things, and it's just kind of made him question like, so what is right and wrong exactly? But not anarchistic.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Sure.
So it kind of sounds like neutral, maybe.
Yeah, it does sound more like neutral good.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have a really strong opinion on law versus chaos, then probably... and I mean, most people are lawful by default, really. So, if he's just suspicious of the law, then probably neutral. If he's very anti-laws, then probably chaotic.
I'm gonna go with suspicious and neutral good.
Okay, neutral good it is then. All right, is that it? Is that everything?
My review page doesn't have anything highlighted.
All right, so click done or whatever the button is.
Apply changes. That's probably the thing that I haven't been clicking and what's been screwing everything up.
Oh.
It's probably what's going on here.
Okay.
Building your character.
The apply changes button.
And then it created it. But can I not edit it now?
We can go back and edit it.
No, well, I was just curious if I'd clicked that earlier, like what that would have meant.
It probably would have prevented it auto-saving when I closed it and deleting everything, and now we have to type up the stupid things again. But don't worry about it. So
under on my character sheet, so there's 5 different languages, which sounds right. And then it says weapon dagger, weapon dart, weapon light crossbow, weapon longbow, longsword, quarterstaff. I obviously don't have all of those things.
Those are proficiencies, not equipment.
Oh, those are proficiencies. Got it.
So you know how to use them. You don't necessarily own one.
Right.
Longsword is a fairly expensive thing.
Right.
Yes, this is on roll 20. And he's using the Character Mancer, but I'm afraid of opening up his character sheet.
No, you're good now. I think that that was the whole problem all along.
All right, did you save? All done?
I think so. I clicked apply changes and it made like an official looking sheet.
What the hell? Did you click make it an NPC? Oh no, I clicked the wrong thing. My bad.
No.
There it is! Samson Daharo! Amazing. Awesome. So, yeah, look at all this character stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
What does my 1 in arcane recovery mean?
So that's a wizard thing. So, remember I said you're only going to get 2 first-level spells every day. So if you click on the Spells tab in your character sheet, Core, Bio, and Spells. Did you click the Spells tab?
Wait. Bio and info, character sheet, attributes and abilities?
Click character sheet.
Character sheet.
So now you're looking at your character
got
sheet.
It. Core, bio, and spells. Got it.
There you go. And now it's actually updating for me.
God, I have a negative charisma.
Okay,
wow. All right.
So wine, you only have 2 cantrips.
Because probably failed to save like it did before.
That's fine. Are the first level spells correct?
Mage armor, find familiar.
Did you just
shield.
click the
Because I didn't
plus?
change any of those.
Did you just click the plus?
I did just click the plus.
Yeah, don't do that. Delete that.
Oh, okay. How?
Unlock it. Yeah, okay. Okay, no, don't. Close that. Okay, click the unlock button.
Yep.
The lock button.
And then the red
X.
icon. Got it. Done. And then lock again.
Now lock again. Okay.
Yeah.
So mouse over the letter I. Open up the compendium on the top.
The letter
right.
what? Sorry.
The letter I icon at the top.
Yes.
A negative charisma. Yeah, he put a 7 in charisma. We'll get to that. He is brutally honest to the point of insult. Oof. Alright, so if you open up the compendium, you should be able to search in the search bar for the spells that we wanted. Which were Mage Hand. So search for Mage Hand.
Yeah.
Now click and drag the spell into your spellbook from the search.
Into the cantrips?
Into the cantrips.
Ah, nice. And then it was Ray of Frost was the other one. Nice. Perfect. Those both show up for you? Yeah.
Yep, they're popping up. And you had one more, right?
I think I only got 4. I got right. I got 1 from being an elf and
okay,
3.
So you had 4.
And yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, and then you've got 6 first level spells, which is correct.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So,
Yomi, I got my stats by rolling 4 d6s and dropping the lowest one 6 times.
Yep. And then he plugged them in as he liked.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, we'll come back to spell. You just cast a spell because you went your slots remaining down to 0.
Wait, what?
Have you been messing around with the slots remaining?
No,
Up and down?
I didn't click anything on this. No.
Okay. Whatever.
I can.
Yeah, raise that up to 2.
What? Character sheet. Edge. Spells. This goes to 2. Slots total. Slots remaining 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So go back to core.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to briefly explain what's going on with your ability scores, which are on the left-hand side.
Right.
So, again, these are the main stats of the game. These 6 attributes kind of describe your character. Mm-hmm. Now, you have a low strength. Now, each of these scores has a statistic, which is the smaller number in the circle, in the oval.
Yeah.
And then the derived stat, which is we call the modifier, which is the big number. Mm-hmm. It's automatically filled those in, so you don't have to worry about how exactly those derived. I'll just quickly say it's every 2 above 10 is a +1, and every 2 below 10 is a -1.
Got it. Rounded down, it looks like.
Right.
Or up, actually. But yeah.
Well, it's every 2 or partial above, yeah.
Every 2 or
every
partial,
complete
so
2 above 10 gives you a +1. Every 2 below 10 or partial gives you a -1.
Got it.
So the 7 in charisma is giving you a -2. So what that means, those modifiers are what you apply to your d20 rolls. Mm-hmm. Now, this character sheet does that automatically.
Oh, okay.
So if I ask you for, I'm going to need a strength check. If you click the word strength,
yeah,
it rolls a d20. Actually, in this case, it rolled 2. And applied a -1. Now, the reason it rolls 2 is because it's automatically applying advantage. This is something we can turn on and off in the settings for your character sheet, but I find it useful. So, if you have neither advantage nor disadvantage, then we only count the first number. It's as if you rolled 1 die.
Do we count? I mean, what can we tell it to not roll 2?
We can, but it's more inconvenient.
So when you say first number,
the first number is the 14. From left to right.
So first number is in from left to right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I might say you have advantage on this roll, or you have disadvantage on this roll, right? Now, advantage means you... Ooh, nice. Advantage means you use the higher of... You roll 2 dice and use the higher one.
Right.
Disadvantage means you roll 2 dice and use the lower number.
Got it.
And there are many things in the game that can apply advantage or disadvantage. Also, they cancel each other out. So if some situation like darkness is giving you disadvantage to attack an enemy, but you have advantage because that enemy is lit up by a spell, then they cancel each other out, and you have neither advantage nor disadvantage. We just use the first number rolled.
Got it.
Alright. Do you need to stop and take care of something?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm looking to. I'm just playing with like a desk toy, not texting it.
Okay. The game etiquette of playing online is we're all here at the same time.
Yes.
To play this game. I'm not accusing you of anything. I am saying this because everyone needs to, we all need to be on the same page about this.
Sure.
It is rude to play another game in another tab while you're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely.
It will inevitably cause distraction
Sure.
or not paying attention at a key moment.
Sure.
And it's just rude,
Absolutely.
So that is like not talking in a theater. It's just something we all kind of have to agree to.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
This improves my focus.
Please continue doing it. I don't object to Kate knitting either.
Cool.
It's just
Cool.
something.
Yeah,
Some etiquette. One of those rules that not everybody knows.
Sure.
Okay. So you've derived your stats from the scores. So you notice your Constitution being an 11 is 0. So you have 6 HP.
My Constitution being an 11.
Your Constitution is an 11, so it gives you a modifier of 0. Now, whenever you get your health, that changes your hit point maximum. Whenever you level up, you add hit points to your hit point maximum.
Right.
And that, of course, affects your current hit points. So when you take damage, I might say take 3 damage. You click down the current hit points. You leave the hit point maximum alone. You click down the current hit points by that amount. And you being a wizard with a 0 Constitution modifier, you are very squishy. An errant arrow is going to hurt you quite a bit.
Right.
Okay. Could straight out knock you unconscious.
Right. Got it.
Okay.
Stay safe out there.
So those are your ability scores. Now, I might say, make a history check, which is really, you see, under skills, your history has parenthesis int. That's short for intelligence. So it's an intelligence check with your history proficiency bonus applied. But it's already filled that in.
Where is skills?
Under saving throws. So if you look at your ability scores, to the right of them is saving throws and skills.
Look at my ability scores.
You see where it says acrobatics?
Yes.
That's a skill.
Okay. Arcana, deception, history, parentheses, int. Found it. Thanks.
So then you would click on, say, history, the word history, and then it would roll that automatically and add 5.
So if I click on history. So then I would tell you I just rolled a 25, right?
Well, you would roll a 22.
A 22.
So you got it rolled 2 dice because it's rolling 2 dice automatically. But unless you have advantage or disadvantage, we only count the number on the left.
Right, so that's a 20.
No. Which is your left and which is your right?
The 20's on the left side of my screen.
Look in the chat.
Oh, in the chat. Okay. I was looking at the dice on the...
Yes, I get it. You were looking at the 3D dice. Those are just for funsies.
Got it. All right. On board.
It's the chat record that we actually care about.
On board. All right. So I rolled a 22.
Got it. You confused me.
Because that's a 17 plus 5, which is my history modifier.
The dice animation on my screen ended up slightly to the left, so I'm counting that one.
Well, that's not a totally unreasonable
no wonder
way
you
of
thought
doing
I was
things.
being an idiot, because I didn't explain that correctly, I guess, and or it wasn't clear that we're looking at the chat. So everything that happens in the chat.
Yeah. Got it. All right, on board.
Okay.
And then if I click on acrobatics, it still rolls.
Yeah.
And it added my dexterity.
Right.
So what do the check boxes mean?
That means you're proficient. So you get an extra bonus.
So if I uncheck Arcana... Oh, it changes it to a 3. Got it. All right, cool.
Now, when you cast a spell... So go to the spells page.
Yeah.
Click the name of a spell. Okay, so for that one, it didn't put the text of the spell in. It just automatically rolled the attack, because it figured that that's what you wanted.
For Mage Hand, it does.
For Mage Hand, there's no attack involved, so it didn't automatically do that. Now, to roll the damage for Ray of Frost, if you scroll up, you click on the words Ray of Frost in there. In the chat. There you go, 7 cold damage.
Cool.
Now, I'm going to, because I'm thinking about it, I'm going to open up the settings in Ray of Frost by clicking the gear. And I'm just going to do this, so you don't do anything.
Okay.
And there should be a way to make it put the text, this description in. Include spell description in attack is turned off. I'm going to turn it to on. I wish there must be a way to automatically do that, to change it for the whole character sheet, but I haven't figured that out yet.
So now if I click Ray of Frost, it does do the text.
Mm-hmm. And you can also turn it to automatically roll the damage, which, you know what? I'm just going to do that real quick. Because I'm opening up the gear in your character sheet, and spell casting. No, that's not what I want. Skill Skill options. Show global damage modifier field. Is that what I want? That might not be the right thing. I don't want to make that. I don't want to make this too gross. So I don't want to screw this up, so I'm not going to turn that on. Because I'm not 100%. Auto damage roll.
It says auto damage roll. Yeah.
Oh, all right, go ahead and change it.
Auto roll.
Change it from don't to auto roll damage and crit.
Okay.
Okay, when it automatically rolls the crit, it can be a little confusing because sometimes you roll a crit on the second number, and then it'll automatically try to follow me. It'll automatically roll the crit damage, and then you might not actually get to apply it. So you can always mouse over the damage numbers to see how it was derived, and then we'll apply it correctly.
1d8 equals 1. Okay.
All right. Yomax, the automatic rolling of advantage setting. Is that in the game settings or the board settings or what? I think it might be in the character sheet settings.
The settings for the...
It might be in the game settings as well. But I like automatically rolling the advantage and disadvantage thing because it saves time. So I don't want to change that. And once you get used to it, I think it's nice. Okay. So you have these are the spell. This is your spell book. Okay. You looking at the character sheet with me?
Yep.
This is your spell book. These spells are all in your spell book. Now you can only prepare. All your cantrips are automatically prepared, but first level and above, you can only prepare a limited number of them. So this is when you studying your spell book at the start of the day to fix those spells in your mind. And then you can use up your spell slots to cast the spells that you have memorized. So you have 2 slots total, and as you cast your first level spells, your slots remaining will go down. But you can use any of those slots to cast any of the spells you've memorized. That's how you mark memorization, with the red circles. So we'll go ahead and pick some now, just as your default ones, so that we don't forget it later. So you can memorize a number of spells equal to your spellcasting modifier, which is intelligence. Your spellcasting ability is intelligence.
Okay.
Plus half your wizard level rounded up.
So 1.
So 1.
So that's 4.
Your spellcasting modifier is plus 3.
Right, my intelligence.
Yeah.
The bio and info tab is blank all of a sudden for me, but I don't know.
Oh, no, you didn't fill in anything there.
No, never mind. I clicked on that instead of core. I forgot which was which.
Okay. Oh god, I'm really afraid it's gonna change. It's gonna mess up when I close your character sheet, but I'm gonna close it. All right, because it stopped updating me on what you were doing.
I didn't do anything, so.
Well, you clicked a different tab and it didn't update me.
Oh, I only did it for a second. I don't know.
All right. So, so go back to spells.
I'm just looking at my intelligence modifier.
Oh, sure.
3. Yeah, so it is indeed 4 that I can. It's my modifier, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be 4. So you can prepare 4 spells.
So it seems like I want.
Now I will let you have previously, prior to the game, I'll let you have cast Find Familiar at some point. So We need what animal you want your familiar to be, and what animal form it's currently in, and what its name is. What's your little furry friend, or not furry, perhaps feathered?
Does it have to be Lil? Can it be any animal? I feel like there's some benefits to picking tiger over butterfly, you know what I mean?
It is not any animal. Click find familiar so it casts it in chat. And there's all the text.
Bat, cat, crab, frog.
You can read that up and decide for yourself.
Fish, rat, raven, seahorse, or weasel.
Don't make the decision right now. You can decide on your own later. Let me just finish with the things I need to help you with, okay?
Okay.
I just realized how late it's getting.
Yeah.
We only have 2.5 hours until game time.
Yeah.
So go back to core.
Yeah.
You will notice your armor class,
Yep.
which you can adjust when you cast Mage Armor. You will notice your initiative in the middle, top. That's when I say roll for initiative. You're going to click that, and it's going to add your bonus to a d20 roll. And that's going to determine your order in combat when you get your turn.
Cool.
It'll also, I'll have an initiative tracker up, and if you click your character and then roll initiative, and the initiative tracker's up, it'll automatically add you into the list. Your speed is 30. When we have squares, those are 5 feet, so you can move.
Yes.
So your speed is 30, and that means you can move 6 squares on your turn.
Sweet.
In combat. Hit dice, I don't really need to explain right now. Basically, you can rest and spend hit dice to heal. Scrolling down, you see attacks and spell casting. It's automatically added in some of your attack spells and your dagger attack. So that's all set up for you already. Scrolling further down, we have some gear. Now, it's automatically filled in everything for the Explorer's Pack. And for your wizard, like the spell book and component pouch.
Cool.
And you can see the Explorer's Pack, bedroll, mess kit, tinderbox to make some fire, torches, water skin, hempen rope, things that are just basic that you need. Mm-hmm. Now we have some more equipment to add. So open up the compendium, because you could click and drag that just like spells.
Information. Yeah.
And I am going to give you a little bit more gear. So I want you to search for... Sage. Okay, so the Sage comes with some of the equipment we were talking about, with some extra equipment of its own. It also determines your starting gold. So you can see there are copper pieces, silver pieces, electrum pieces that nobody uses, gold pieces, and platinum pieces. Okay? So if you mouse over those symbols, it shows you.
Silver, electrum, gold.
Right? CP, SP. Okay. So the ratio is 10 copper pieces to a silver piece. 10 silver pieces make a gold. 10 gold pieces make it platinum. Most adventurers convert things to gold pieces most of the time. But, depending on who you're dealing with, they may use a totally different denomination of coin. And it kind of relates to their position, their social position in life. Like if they mostly deal in copper pieces, they are probably, a relatively poor farmer or something.
Yeah.
If they deal in silver pieces, they might be an artisan in town. If they deal in gold pieces, they might be a bit higher up, have a business or something. Or, be an adventurer, etc. And platinum pieces are what the rich and powerful use to, have a smaller, more valuable coin to deal in large sums. The amount of weight you can carry is affected by your strength. Right now you are under the amount. It's 8. Your strength score is 8. It's your score times 15. So you are well under that. Okay, so go ahead and add in 10 gold pieces.
10 gold?
Mm-hmm. So click on the GP. Yep, there you go. And you can see it updated the weight, because coins weigh a little bit. Okay, so in the compendium, in the search bar, the letter I in the top right.
Yes.
Search for ink. Is there an ink pot?
Ink pen.
Okay.
Just ink. There's
All
no
right.
pot.
Okay, so click and drag ink to your equipment. There you go. So you have a bottle of black ink. You could edit the name to say that instead of just ink, if you wanted. You have a quill, so search for the quill.
Nothing came up for quill.
All right, so take the ink pen.
Yeah.
Search for knife. It's a small knife, like meant for trimming the end of your quill.
Knife didn't come up. Nothing.
All right, so just click the plus mark and add it in equipment.
Yeah.
There you go. And you can change ink pen to quill, because why not? Okay. And then you have a letter. Now, this is subject to change, because this is awfully specific. A letter from a dead colleague posing a question you have not yet been able to answer. You can go with that if you like. You can change that to something you feel matches your character a little more if you like. That is up to you.
And that's just like picking like a personal item.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally written into the rules that you have a letter from a dead colleague posing a question you have not yet been able to answer.
It's very
If that appeals to
odd.
you, then use it.
How about? I think you're gonna like this. A letter written in the language, in the ancient Ebb language from my grandfather that I've never been able to translate.
Wow. Because, wow. Yes. Untranslatable letter.
Thought you'd like that.
And you can actually go in and add more details. If you go to the bio tab, you can fill that in under treasure.
So that doesn't go in equipment. That's just like...
Correct. Extra stuff. Might not be on your person.
Why can't I delete this equipment line? Weird. Under treasure, under which tab? Sorry.
So
under bio.
Bio. Yeah. If you go to
treasure.
Treasure.
Letter from grandfather.
You can fill in your backstory, features and traits, allies and organizations, character appearance, all that useful stuff.
probably don't need to worry about filling all these in right now, considering time constraints.
And no one uses Electrum pieces because they introduced it in this edition, and they're like in between silver and gold, and that's just confusing.
Are they worth
so
like
easy
5?
to keep track of. 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they're like worth 5.
And it sounds like, everyone's been on the metric system. And now they're trying to go back and introduce the imperial system.
It's like, god damn it. It's like 5 silver pieces to an Electrum. No one uses
Yeah, it's real
at least no one I know. I certainly don't.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
It's just like, maybe the Kingdom of Ebb used them. That's why they were wiped out.
Maybe that's what my letter is. It's just like a grocery store receipt.
As far as you know. Okay, so we're just about done here. Except we're gonna give you. I got a lot to
learn about the history of the realm.
We're gonna give you 2 more interesting objects.
Okay.
Roll a D100.
Wow.
It's gonna roll 2 D10s because that's how you do it in person. 82. You have half a floor plan for a temple, castle, or some other structure. Maybe it's a floor plan from the Palace of White Witch. The academy where you've been studying all this time. Like a map of the academy.
Half a floor plan to an unknown structure or building.
Well, you can decide. It could be unknown if you want.
Oh, isn't that what you just said?
No, I said a temple, castle, or some other structure. Oh. So I suggested maybe it's a map of the university in White Witch.
Half a floor plan to the university.
Remember, you've been studying at the Palace of White Witch?
Is White Witch spelled like...
It is spelled... W-A... let me double check. I believe it's spelled white, then W-Y-C-H.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Alright. And then... we're going to give you a magic item.
Oh, that music just kicked in really hard, huh?
Perfect timing. Okay. So... your grandparents, before the Doom, which just wiped out so much knowledge and information and understanding from, even knowledge of what the Empire of Ebb was like. Even knowledge of how to translate their frickin' language was wiped out by this Doom. But when they smuggled out your parents, and who avoided the Doom as children, they left them with one object, one item, whose powers you have begun to unlock. What is that object?
Oof. I don't know.
Could be anything. Could be a staff, a walking stick.
Yeah, but I'm not a... That would make sense if I was, if I didn't have the bag of things, you know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't have to be your spellcasting focus. In order to be a magic staff. Or magic walking stick. It could even have hung on your wall for a long time. But, or it could be something totally different.
How about... Okay. Alright. You know that... Alright. Remember in The Illusionist, where there's that locket that opens into, like, a heart?
Yeah.
Via some special secret way?
Yeah, the secret catch.
What if it's a locket that is shaped like... No, I don't know, like circular, nothing super special. And on 1 or 2 occasions, I have accidentally succeeded to unlock it. And both times, its shape was different. And I don't know how I unlocked it, and I'm not sure what it does when I unlocked it.
Huh.
But it came out to a different shape both times.
Interesting.
Do you fiddling with it for, you know, unsleepingly?
Unlock it. Unlock it.
I can come up with something else. I don't know.
No.
Does that work?
Go ahead and put that on your character sheet under equipment. Or treasure.
And let's say my knowledge of Arcana tells me that it is in some way imbued with magical something.
Mm-hmm. Unlock it.
What are you searching for right now?
Right now, I am searching for a token for you. Because most of my mages, my elf mages tend to have like either a bow or a staff. And you have a dagger. So it's like, it doesn't quite fit the mental image. And lots of them have staffs. Trying to pick the right thing. This guy's pretty cool. What do you think about this dude?
Yeah, that works for me. It says I mean, you're not going to be able to find the perfect thing. I put down that I had silvery hair, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was good. Down, that one. Up. The human F white mage. I'm looking on your stream.
Well, that one's pretty female.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, okay. Never mind.
I don't know if you can see, but it's
I
pretty
only caught a
feminine.
glimpse of it. Yeah.
She does have a locket, though. And white hair. Damn, it's pretty perfect.
It's okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can have black hair or whatever.
Okay. The locket has... Oh, I found it. I knew he was here.
Oh, perfect. Well played. He's carrying a book in one hand and a dagger, white hair.
I was like, I know I have a guy with a book.
Yeah.
There he is.
Nice.
He has a beard, which is a little less elfy, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I think you can live with a beard.
I can live with a beard. I wish I could grow a beard in real life.
He's amazing. You can't?
No.
It's nonsense. The genes.
Guess not. You can. Dad can. Grandpa's 80. Pace.
Damn.
Sucks. Maybe one day.
Why does every single one of my elf mages have a stick?
Elves have what?
A stick. They all have a stick.
Oh.
Like every single one.
I know you found the perfect thing. You don't have to.
I found the perfect thing. Okay. The locket. The locket. Okay, so now I'm going to edit your character. And we're going to select the token, use selected token. And we're going to save changes. Oh, but I've got to set up your HP bar. But before we do, what have you called the locket?
What have I called it? Like name?
What have you named it on your character sheet?
Oh, I just put it under treasure with a brief description.
Okay. Let's call it... you've discovered some of its powers.
You cut out there.
You've discovered some of its powers. All right. So the locket... what are the things it transforms into when you've clicked it? What is this basic shape?
The basic shape when it's just closed is let's say a pyramid.
Neat.
And then after twisting and turning it just right, it turned once into let's say a butterfly.
Okay.
And the other time it turned into like a little like a suit of armor, not like a chest plate, basically.
Okay, like a breastplate?
Yeah.
Okay. So write the name in your character sheet and you're under your equipment as Ebbian Amulet. Or Locket. You called it a locket, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Inspired by the illusionist. Locket.
Hey, PD Crittenden. I am making a character for Leo, who is going to be a guest star in our session in about 2 hours. We got deep into it, so it's taken a lot longer than I thought it would.
Getting the feeling I'm not going to make it to the gym today, huh?
Well, we're about to wrap up. So,
Okay.
The Ebbian Amulet, with the strange symbols on it. All the things you've managed to transform it into, each time it seemed to gain a new magical power. And if only you could figure out what else it could do, some more of its powers would no doubt be unlocked. If you could translate the symbols that appear on it when you transform the locket.
It'd be kind of cool if there's like the symbol on the front matches some of the symbols in my letter.
It does.
Also, no spoilers here, PD Crittenden, and hello.
No, there's no spoilers. Okay. You... the amulet, the locket, gives you 5 more when you first turn it into the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
It gave you 5 more total HP. Actually, no, sorry, temporary HP. So, basically, that doesn't change your hit point maximum, but for an hour, you felt healthier, more durable.
So that's
younger.
as a pyramid?
What?
That's as a pyramid?
Indeed.
Okay.
So transform into a pyramid, you get 5 temporary hit points for an hour. Okay?
Okay.
Transformed into a butterfly, you gained the ability, you gained the spell Levitate. For an hour.
Spell levitate for an hour. Cool.
And when you transformed it into the breastplate, it gave you it cast mage armor on you for 1 hour.
And is this something that would count towards my 2 spells per
Nope.
day? No. Okay, cool.
Doesn't count against that.
Nice.
Of course, when you cast mage armor, it lasts for 8 hours. So
When I cast mage armor, it does. Yeah, okay.
yeah, so different from the locket.
Sure. Okay, so I've unlocked it 3 times.
Okay, and
Butterfly and breastplate, and I guess it's just like circular or something. Normally.
now this bit is a little spoilery. PD Crittenden, so maybe just we're about to wrap up anyway, so beware. You know, if you can just find more, if you can just translate the symbols that shift every time you change the locket, you can unlock more powers. And if you go to Arkney, you've heard there may be some Ebbian texts that have survived the Doom. Alright?
Cool.
Alright. We're done. We got other stuff to do, and you are set for now.
Sweet. What about having any amount of knowledge about the history of the world that I'm supposed to be an expert in?
Well, again, you can roll knowledge checks in the game.
I'll just roll knowledge checks in the game. Okay.
And I can just tell you. But basically,
Sure.
This is the Wildlands. A place of city-states and wild country and untamed wilderness. And every now and then, over the long years of history, empires or kingdoms arise and control the entire Wildlands. The last one to do so was the Empire, the Kingdom of Veille. The Veille Empire, which kind of has a French theme. And they The last emperor of which was Louis VII, I think. I have to double check. And that, we are now in, if you check the handouts, you'll see there's the Wild Calendar, a link to a calendar that I update. And the months correspond to the gods of this world. Each god is associated with a particular month. Okay. And the Wei Empire fell. You'll notice it's year 176 of the Wild Calendar. That's because it has started counting since the fall of the Wei Empire. You might know quite a bit about the Wei Empire with history checks. Now, that empire was around for a good long time, but only arose about maybe a little over 400 years ago. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's historians count it from the establishment of the dynasty that ruled it, but when it exactly, or do you count it from when they conquered the entire wildlands? Hard to say. There's certainly a lot of evidence of the Wei Empire roundabout. It's only been it hasn't even quite been 2 centuries since they fell.
Right. I mean, I was alive.
The fall of the Wei Empire is a very interesting time in the history of the wildlands.
I mean, I was 175 when it fell, so.
As there were a number of rebellions that were brutally put down until finally it became too much, and now the wildlands is splintered. There's no overarching kingdom or empire that rules it. There are maybe little city-states or dotted settlements or empires that control some of the surrounding land, but nothing. But it's the wildlands. There are also empires and kingdoms, off to in each direction, far away. But this region has a history of being difficult to bring to heel.
Okay.
You are on this map in Toreen at 1313. You're more familiar with White Witch, which is at 1315. And Arkney is at 1412. Other than that, I am not going to tell you what's out there.
Wait.
Well, let's make a knowledge check.
Arkney is 1412?
Yes. Right here.
Okay. Cool.
You are currently here. And this
in
is White
1313.
Mm-hmm. This is Toreen, where you are. And this is
1313, Toreen, 1412, 1313. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Each square is a 2-day travel?
1 day travel.
1 day travel.
Each hex. Then, before the Wei Empire, long ago, over 1,000 years ago, the doom came to the Empire of Ebb that ruled this land. In between there was no empire. This was the Wildlands. And the Empire of Ebb, you know more than anybody else that you've met.
Oh, you cut out there.
You know more about the Empire of Ebb than anyone else you've ever met. But you still know so little. Something about the doom that came to the Empire of Ebb just wiped out all of this knowledge and all of this advancement that they had. Even though there were magic items and ruins and things that dot the landscape, and you are finally venturing out of the extensive libraries of the university at White Witch to seek some of that, do some field work, seek some of that knowledge for yourself.
Come from White Witch. Okay, cool.
And there you have it.
Sweet.
So that's the basic outline of the history of the Wildlands.
Sweet.
There are many specifics that we could get into, including you would probably know the exact year when the pair of mated dragons settled to the northwest of White Witch, and things like that. But we don't need to get into that unless it comes up during the game. So that's it, man.
Sweet.
And I will see you in about 2 hours for game time.
Thank you very much. Sounds great. Yeah, 5:30 Raider.
Thanks for anybody who hung out for the stream. Thanks for hanging out, Yomi. Thanks to anybody who watches us later. Thanks, Leo, for we kind of went into the weeds. We probably could have done a much quicker character creation, but I think we ended up with a really interesting character. So hopefully that was worth it. And we'll get him into game as soon as may be. All right, tonight until 2 hours from now, until tonight. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, Max.